Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Battery Bandit 94. Thanks for the suggestion, Battery Bandit. You asked, when did RC cars become more than just toys? Today, we're taking a high-speed ride through the history and evolution of RC cars. From birthday gift to full-blown obsession with sponsorships, trackside rivalries, and adults yelling, "Clear!" like they're in an ER. So, if you've ever been tempted to install a spoiler on something that fits in your backpack, stick around as we uncover when RC cars became way more than just toys. Right here on Explaining Everything. RC cars started out with all the power of a wind-up toy and the range of a depressed walkie-talkie. Back in the 1960s, they were quirky novelties, expensive, simple, and more likely to be owned by a hobbyist with a mustache and a basement lab than a kid with grass stains. The first commercial RC car came from Italy in 1966, made by a company called Elettronica Giocattoli, which sounds like a pasta dish, but was actually a pioneer in remote-controlled fun. Their cars were powered by nitro fuel, which sounds intense because it is. Imagine a toy that runs on what's basically mini rocket juice. Fast forward to the 1980s, the golden age of RC cars. Companies like Tamiya and Kyosho started pumping out models that were faster, tougher, and came with enough parts to qualify as a small IKEA set. These weren't just toys anymore. These were buildable, customizable. If you were a kid with a Tamiya Hornet, you weren't just playing. You were engineering. You were adjusting suspensions. You were replacing motors. You were probably ignoring your homework and learning more about gear ratios than your math teacher ever expected. Also, if you got one of these for Christmas and your friend got socks, you won. Game over. Childhood achievement unlocked. Then came the 1990s, when RC cars became straight-up athletes. RC racing leagues popped up around the world. These weren't casual driveway drag races anymore. They were full-blown events, with pit crews, lap counters, and more drama than a high school dance. And let's not forget the rise of nitro buggies. These mini-monsters had two-stroke engines that made them sound like an angry swarm of mechanical bees. They were fast, loud, and capable of launching themselves into the air like caffeinated grasshoppers. Meanwhile, tech dad culture exploded. Grown men were spending Saturday mornings in the garage adjusting carburetors on cars smaller than their shoes. Somewhere along the way, someone definitely said, "This is not a toy. This is a precision machine," before immediately crashing it into a tree. Enter the 2000s. Lithium polymer batteries and brushless motors arrived like overachieving nerds at a science fair. Suddenly, electric RC cars were not just fast, they were lightning fast, with top speeds reaching 60, 70, even 100 miles per hour. Yes, a toy car doing highway speeds on purpose. It was also the age of YouTube, which meant everyone could now film themselves flipping a Traxxas X01 off a roof and become a legend. Suddenly, RC wasn't just a hobby, it was content. RC drift culture emerged too. Entire parking lots were taken over by people sliding tiny cars sideways in synchronized choreography like they were auditioning for Fast and Furious Micro Edition. Today, RC cars have become ridiculously advanced. They're 3D printed, GPS tracked, app controlled, and some even have onboard telemetry. That's right. Your toy car now has more sensors than your actual car. They race in competitive leagues with prize money. There are scale rock crawlers that mimic real off-road vehicles down to axle articulation and tire pressure. There are drones with wheels. And there are flame-throwing RC tanks that, let's be honest, probably violate at least 3 local ordinances. Even major car manufacturers are involved. Ford, Audi, and Porsche license their designs for scale RC versions because nothing says status like parking a $300 mini Lambo on your desk. And of course, there's the RC modding scene. People are installing GoPros, LED light bars, working winches, and suspension systems that cost more than their actual lunch budget. It's not a toy anymore, it's a lifestyle, and possibly a tax write-off. Let's be real. RC cars became more than toys because people love speed, tinkering, and having excuses to buy things with remotes. There's something magical about controlling a zippy little machine with your thumbs and pretending, even for a second, that you're a stunt driver, a mechanic, and a mad scientist, all rolled into one. Also, adulthood is expensive and stressful. So if you can get the rush of racing, crashing, fixing, and upgrading something that isn't your daily driver and doesn't come with insurance paperwork, that's a win. RC cars let us be kids and engineers at the same time, and that's a combo you don't get very often. So, when did RC cars become more than just toys? Pretty much the moment someone said, "What if we added a nitro engine?" and someone else said, "Hold my soldering iron." From 1960s novelties to 21st century speed demons, RC cars have evolved into a high-tech, high-speed hobby that's way more than child's play. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe. And hey, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.